What the hell's going on? Thanks for tuning in to the MMA Podcast. May 1st, 2014, we're going to be breaking down all sorts of shit. UFC 172. We got a lot of Jones talk. His eye poking. Is he a dirty fighter? Is he a point fighter now? A lot of people say Jones has knockout power. Whether he does or not, he had an unbelievable performance against Glover Teixeira, winning the decision. Rumble Johnson winning on the co-main. Rockhold, Miller, and Holloway. We'll be talking about all of their wins. Alexander Gustafsson, the details of his past coming to light. We're going to touch on that. We got a fight tip for you. The Jew is back. Let's do this shit. The MMA Podcast, 88, I think. Let's do it.
You're listening to the MMA Podcast!
That's right. It's going to be a super short edition of the MMA Podcast because we're kicking this shit off 2.5 hours late. It was going to be myself, Ramses, and Alan. Alan's patrolling the mean streets. He needed to chase down a bad guy, but even better, we got the Jew for you tonight. And I'll pass it to him first. Ross, it's been a while since you've been on the MMA Podcast, and I'm really glad you're back on. I hope we have you on more often in the future because honestly, no one on this show can break down a fight like you. How the hell are you? Where do we find you on the interwebs?
Yeah, I'm only here because they're paying me some good money. I wasn't supposed to be here, but here I am. For those who don't remember me, I'm Ross. I'm the Jew, best Jew in the business. Ross Finkelstein, E before the L. Find me on Twitter at Ross Finkelstein, E before the L. If you go to my Twitter right now, you won't find shit because there's no Twitter. There might be a Twitter soon. I don't know. It's there. It's just down. I'm going to beat the shit out of Ramses on Tuesday. That's all I really got for you. Back to you, Jake.
That's right. We heard you drop a pipe bomb last night on the Word on the Street. If you haven't heard it, go back and listen. Word on the Street 107. We actually had ex-Bellator, Strikeforce, WEC, you name it, fighter on. Keith Berry. He had a lot of insight. Of course, the great coach Jamie Huey. We had Ninja drop some very insightful tips, such as...
And I'll be the first to tell you that I'm not against hitting women.
And...
You've been taught as kids, as men, we don't hit women. Well, that's bullcrap.
And I am taking him a little bit out of context there, but to hear the context he said it in, go back and listen to Word on the Street 107. Ramses, where do we find the Word on the Street? It's on our iTunes, but if you want to see it on YouTube, you got to follow Ramses on Twitter.
You're damn right. Thanks, Jake, from the MMA Podcast. This is Ramses, and you can find me on the Twitter, The Aunt Jimmy Show on Twitter. Instead of plugging my own shit, I just want to give a quick shout out to my homeboys, my cousins up there in Baton Rouge, Antoine Williams and his cousin Sasha Williams. Shout out! I know you're having a tough night tonight, Antoine. I'm hustling right now for that bail money for you, and that's the Word on the Street. Katrina should have wiped that city off the face of the map, in my opinion.
And we will move on to UFC 172. We're getting straight to it tonight. Follow us on Twitter at the MMA Podcast, themamapodcast.com. And definitely this weekend, Spike TV, 9 p.m. Central, Saturday night. You can't miss it. Glory 16. Glory, the top kickboxing organization in the world. They're doing an event in Denver. We're going to be there live on Press Row, giving you the play-by-play. That's right. Our little janky-ass podcast got a press credential. It's going to be fun. They're probably going to kick us out before the televised fights begin because I'm going to be on heroin and wasted. Let's get to UFC 172. Let's just do all the prelims in a big bunch, and then we'll skip straight to the main card because, like I said, we're going to be breaking records tonight. This is going to be the shortest MMA podcast ever. Prelims, Fight Pass, we saw Chris Beal, an unbelievable flying knee knockout on Patrick Williams. Danny Castillo, another unbelievable knockout. This a punch in the second round. Charlie Brenneman on the receiving end of that. Bitch Kohea defeating Jessamine Duke via unanimous decision, having a little taunt for the 4 horsewoman afterwards, holding up 4 fingers and then putting one of them down, sort of like 1 down, 3 to go. Bitch Kohea, definitely on the scene. I guess Shayna Baszler wants to fight her next, but we'll see if she gets a better opponent than that. Takanori Gomi, Allen's boy, defeating Isaac Valley Flag in what was the fight of the night, unanimous decision, and Joseph Benavidez with a beautiful guillotine, made Tim Elliott tap with his feet. Benavidez and Chris Beal winning the bonuses for performance of the night. We'll go to Ross first and then Ramses for pretty much every topic, because I've learned no one can follow Ramses because he is a fucking closer. But Finkelstein, it's nice having you back to break down fights. What did you think of all of them? I got a text from you after the Beal KO saying, wow, 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 wow.
I don't text you. You're scum.
Oh, yeah.
Beal's a ninja. Castillo's a motherfucker. Betch is a bitch. Gomi's a legend. And Joby One Kenobi's going to fuck your bitch. That's all I got to say.
Ramses, what did you think of the prelims?
Yeah, I put a lot of money down on the underdogs on these on this whole.
Gonna fuck your bitch. That's all I gotta say.
Wait, what?
All right.
Oh shit! Whoops.
I'm getting echo, man.
I brought up the
know.
Ustream. Yeah. I brought up the Ustream. I thought I tweeted out a
Playing
link
games
when.
with my mind, dude.
Yeah, I thought I tweeted out a link when this went live, but I guess I didn't. So yeah, I had to look up the Ustream link. Go ahead, Ramses. Tell us about the prelims while the ghost of Ross is in the background. Not anymore, though.
You're playing foolish games, as the band Jewel, fronted by Jewel, once sang about. Yeah, the prelims, man. I lost a lot of money on this goddamn thing. I bet on a lot of underdogs. Isaac Valley Flag, he failed me. Yancey Boy Maderos failed me. That was basically where I was, counting on the long money to come through, man. I was like, wow, they beat my Thug Jitsu master Yves Edwards, so obviously, they've got something going for them. But they both failed me, which just, now I know that their victories over Yves Edwards were total flukes.
I call him out and he covers his mouth like a little fancy boy. I mean, what is that?
They call me fancy boy. You're a love man. It's really walking.
Yep, he's a dandy. He's a real fancy boy.
Let's go.
Yo,
That's exactly what I'm talking about, man.
Yeah.
Yancey Boy is who I'm giving up on. Valley Flag, I'll give him credit because he at least put up a good he put up a battle, man. It was a war. And he's actually a cool guy, it turns out. This Yancey Boy guy, though, man, I'm done with him. That's it. What was it? Just some quirk-ass submission like that he basically laid himself into. Sorry, Yancey Boy, I'm done with you. You cost me a lot of fucking money. Instead of eating sushi this week, I'm fucking sitting here eating a Burger King Whopper. And it's all because of you, all right? There's a butterfly flapping its wings in the octagon, and now I'm eating a fucking Whopper, and that's the word on the street.
What?
Damn, that's fucking sad. He's eating Whoppers here on the word. We haven't gotten to the main card, but fuck it. You already covered Yancey. Jim Miller defeating Yancey Medeiros via guillotine in the first round. Max Holloway also winning by a guillotine. It was sort of interesting. We got 3 guillotines in a row with Benavidez, Holloway, and Miller. Max Holloway, it was a very close line in Vegas. Feely was, I had never seen a guy's earlobes taped up because he had gauges, but he had his earlobes sort of taped up like the end of a hockey stick. And Holloway, I mean, he has very accurate boxing and showed his grappling there is definitely there. Feely is a very good wrestler, so getting the submission in the third round in a fight he probably would have won anyway on the judges' scorecard. Always impressive. Miller with that guillotine choke put Yancey Boy out to sleep. Luke Rockhold with a beautiful inverted triangle Kimura in the first round, 2 minutes and 8 seconds in over Tim Boach. That was in Vegas, the biggest one-sided fight. I believe Rockhold at one point was minus 1,000. Ross Finkelstein, the Jew, what did you think of these 3 fights? We'll break down the main and co-main event on their own.
Yeah, that Holloway Feely fight kind of bummed me out a little bit. Andre Fili, one of my favorite guys out there right now, one of the best prospects in MMA, in my opinion. He was looking good. He got caught. Max Holloway's a fantastic fighter. Only loses really to the best of the best. Nothing for Fili to be down about. He'll be back. He'll be strong. And Max Holloway moving up the ranks. Jim Miller and Yancy Medeiros. Short notice replacements are always kind of interesting because you never know really what's going to happen, especially someone like Yancey Boy. But Jim Miller's just Jim Miller. He's one of the best in the world for a reason and has been for many, many years and will continue to be for the foreseeable future. And Luke Rockhold versus Tim Boetsch was literally exactly how I thought it would go. Luke Rockhold's a fantastic talent, and his only loss in recent years is the Vitor loss, and Vitor is on every chemical you can find in existence currently. He was for that fight. So Luke Rockhold looked fantastic. I thought he looked the best at everyone, and he says he wants a rematch with Vitor. I say he deserves a rematch with Vitor, but they're not going to give him it. But I hope he gets it one day, because I do believe Luke Rockhold, when Vitor's not on Super Juice, and I think Luke Rockhold's a better fighter now, but I think Luke Rockhold can beat him.
I don't know what to even make of that shit. I just want to say that shout out to Max Holloway for defeating that son of a bitch. He is the only reason I broke even on my betting. Max Holloway was the one underdog that came through for me. And I parlayed him to shit with Joseph Benavidez, who had an awesome miracle kick out and submission. God bless him. Like I said, I am in negotiations with Joseph Benavidez and his girlfriend. I forget her name. I am going to purchase their current pet, their dog, Benji, soon. We're just, we're hammering out the final price, but I'm going to adopt that dog, and I'll post pictures. I'll give it its own Instagram. But yeah, Max Holloway, though, definitely good fight. Came through. I had no doubt in my mind that he was going to win. He was the underdog that came through that I bet heavily on as much as Yancey, so I broke even, people. I'm not going to lie to you. But it's the reason that, I got a roof over my head tonight. I didn't lose my ass. Nobody's breaking my kneecaps yet because of the fact that Max Holloway came through. And, of course, the whole Jesus thing and the religious angle, that gimmick is getting a little played out for Max. So hopefully he'll switch out of that. It's time to go, full satanic Luciferian angle, just to save his career. But thanks, Max Holloway. Good job. And that's all I have to say about that. And that's the bottom line.
And that's the bottom line.
That's right. I'll edit out that long space of silence in post. It was a fun prelim and main card. I'm glad I stayed in and watched it. The main and co-main event, we saw one fight that surprised a lot of people, one fight that went exactly how we all thought it would. The fight that was a little surprising, Phil Davis, Rumble Johnson. Everyone was saying if Rumble had a chance to win, he needed to knock Davis out in the first round. The longer the fight went on, Davis had more and more an advantage. Davis supposedly had better cardio. Davis supposedly could take Rumble down, had a better wrestling. Davis kept trying to take Rumble Johnson down, and he couldn't do it. And Rumble Johnson showed cardio that none of us expected out of him. He looked great, just piecing Davis up for 15 minutes. Davis had no answer at the post-fight presser, which we'll play in a little bit. I don't know if the highlights have the clip, but Dana White and John Jones are both very critical. Dana White, being asked whether he thought it was a lack of motivation or just a lack of skill. Dana's like, well, with one comes the other. Davis definitely has got to sort of look and regroup here. It puts Rumble in the UFC rankings fourth behind Jones, Gustafsson, and Cormier. It'll be very interesting to see who Rumble gets next, because the 205 division is pretty clogged up. I think currently the only fighter who isn't injured or scheduled to fight someone next is OSP. You have to go like way down the fucking list. So he'll probably wait a little bit. Cormier recently said that he, after beating Dan, would wait for a title shot. I don't know what is going to happen with all that craziness. But back to the fight. Rumble Johnson impressing the shit out of everybody, winning it 30-27 across the board. Ross Finkelstein, I'm paying you $700 to do this podcast tonight. So you better give me a good damn breakdown. Rumble versus Davis, who you got? Or not who you got, but what did you think of the fight? Sorry.
Well, I got Rumble, and you're only paying me $7. That's not what we'll talk later. Anthony Rumble Johnson is reborn. Anthony Rumble Johnson is going to beat John Jones. And let me tell you why. I have one word: black explosiveness. Anthony Rumble Johnson's black explosiveness was at like 200% on Saturday night. John Jones' black explosiveness was at about 27%. He did not have that black explosiveness. No one in the UFC light heavyweight division has the black explosiveness of Anthony Johnson. Rampage, when he fought John Jones, only fought with like 20% black explosiveness. Rashad had like 15% black explosiveness. I mean, everyone he's fought, they just don't have that black explosiveness. And John Jones doesn't even have that black explosiveness that Anthony Johnson has. Anthony Johnson is ready. Anthony Johnson has tuned his game up. He has taken every eye poke in the world and he's turned it around, and he's finally coming. It's a culmination of a life's journey, a career. A very, very, very determined individual who has stuck to his guns, who has gone out, he has hit the lowest of lows, and now he's going to find the highest of highs. And he's going to fight John Jones soon. And he's going to get his shot, and he is going to avenge every eye poke that he's ever had, every person who's ever been poked in the eye by John Jones. It is finally coming. The eye pokes will end. Anthony Johnson's black explosiveness will prevail above all, and Anthony Johnson will be your UFC light heavyweight champion.
And for anybody not picking up on the black explosiveness joke, you got to follow the Reddit MMA people. It's really where it's at. Reddit.com/r/MMA. And sort of like you've got a few inside jokes on the UG, the Reddit, the subreddit for MMA is really building up a pretty big audience. And there was an awesome post recently talking about Anthony Johnson's black explosiveness. So shout out to Ichtuderweh, ICHTUDERWEH. Gotta give the man. It's called Anthony Johnson Will Defeat John Jones. Here's why. Long read, gif heavy. Really, really funny read. Ramses, give us a breakdown of that co-main event. Davis, we I don't know if we can call him a friend of Team Darkside after defeating Vinny Magalhaes, but God, he really showed a lack of standing prowess against Rumble Johnson and his black explosiveness.
Well, first off, it should be stated that Vinny Magalhaes was actually injured with some sort of, I don't know if it was his shoulder or bicep or something, going into that fight with Phil Davis. Actually, the fight, I can reveal this now. I'm told by a close source that Vinny actually did actually try to, not cancel the fight or walk away at it, well, maybe pull out of it with an injury. I'm heard that might have happened, but he was not allowed to. I won't get into it, but I'm just saying. Vinny was not at 100% when he faced Phil Davis, but yes, it was a pleasure this weekend seeing Phil Davis get systematically torn apart, humiliated, disgraced, lowered in class by a fella. And I do believe you're onto something here, Ross, man. I mean, Rumble Johnson, he did have what appeared to be some sort of edge when it came to being the more explosive African American. I will back you on that. But the thing is, man, with Rumble Johnson, how long is he going to be around? Truly, when you think about it. A year ago, we were all celebrating Mark Hunt as being the next. He was the second coming of Christ after he broke his hand, knocking out Stefan Struve and breaking Stefan Struve's jaw. And all of a sudden, Mark Hunt's the next big thing. All of a sudden, he's the next contender. He's got the equivalent of black power in his fists. And guess what happened to him? Some sort of MRSA staph infection. He almost loses a leg. He's laid up in the hospital. He's just breaking apart limbs there, and shit's getting infected all over the place. It's disgusting. But guess what? He goes from being the next big thing in MMA to being a nobody, an unrecognized nothing. Now what is he? He's maybe gonna fight Big Country Nelson. Nelson's on the decline, alright? But yeah, this was, like, I just bringing it all around to Rumble Johnson and Phil Davis. It was good seeing Phil Davis torn apart, humiliated, destroyed, outclassed. But I don't believe in Rumble Johnson. But in the words of Ross, this was a good fight between black people, end quote. Word on the street.
That's right, that is the word. And we'll bring it to the main event. John Jones just dismantling Glover Teixeira. Glover, there was no point at the fight when John Jones looked rocked, where John Jones looked in trouble. John Jones pieced him up striking, dominated him grappling, actually torqued his shoulder in the first round, fucked his shoulder up, wins 50-45. Came under criticism for eye pokes in the Teixeira fight, and he, it's not a new thing. It almost seems like in every fight he gets a warning, and then, yeah, okay, whatever, it's cool. Seems very intentional at times. This was one of the more intentional ones. So I'm going to ask you 3 questions, Ross. And I'm paying you good money for this. What'd you think of the fight? Is John Jones a dirty fighter? And can you call John Jones a point fighter now?
Can you call him a point fighter? No, because he's always looking for that finish. I truly believe he's always, he had that shoulder lock in. He was looking for the finish there. He was hitting him with all these different elbows and punches. He was looking for the finish. I don't believe he was fighting for points. What was the middle question before you asked me?
Is he a dirty fighter?
Yes, he is a dirty fighter. I don't condone sticking your fingers in people's eyes. It's one thing when, you accidentally do it once and then you don't ever do it again. Or maybe you do it like once or twice in your career, or once or twice in maybe 1 or 2 fights. But to do it and average like 2 eye pokes every single fight, that's dirty. It's obviously a tactic he's used to break action. Round 1 of the Glover fight, of the Gustafsson fight, is the best example. Gustafsson obviously was dominating him in that first round, frustrating John completely, boxing him up, stopping the takedowns, even taking him down. John had a cut above his eye in a state of panic, backed Gustafsson against the cage, and blatantly stuck his fingers in his eye to break the action. So, yes, he is a dirty fighter. What did I think of the fight? I'm not surprised. It went exactly how I thought it was. Fuck that, man. It went exactly the way I thought it was going to go, and John Jones won. It didn't shock me one bit.
Sorry.
I really don't have any other words because it's just, I think John Jones is incredible. I think he's got a lot of talent. I think he's one of a kind, but at the same time, his days are numbered.
True. I did want to play this clip really quick. A lot of people were pointing out the eye pokes, and John Jones posted this video to Instagram, which he quickly erased.
Jones put his finger in his eye. Dirtiest fighter in MMA.
Which honestly made me laugh, because I love him embracing who he is. I love asshole troll John Jones way more than fake humble John Jones. But Yeah, to say that's not something he's doing on purpose would be kind of fucking silly. Ramses, what's the word?
John Jones is a goofy, dirty, fighting son of a bitch. No doubt in my mind. This guy is out of control. How many times, I've said it before on this podcast, how many times have you out there listening, anybody on the podcast, whatever, anybody listening, how many times have you poked your finger into another human being's eyeball by mistake? All right? And when you're fighting MMA, it's no different. Actually, it's even worse because you have to be conscious of where your fingers and hands are at all times. You know exactly where you're. Give me a fucking break. He is a dirty fighter. It is disgusting. I wish nothing but the worst in his professional career. I wish that nothing but the worst happens to John Jones in his professional career. I'm hope maybe someone will take care of his friends and family or something. This guy does not have good judgment. This guy's a little punk. What's with this video here where he's like, "You are an eye poker, man." He's a dirty fighter, and let's be honest, people. I am gonna break down the fourth wall. Sorry, Ross, I'm gonna do it. This fucking John Jones, he's a Greg Jackson fighter, and I'm starting to notice a pattern that all of these Greg Jackson fighters, they love these fucking eye pokes. That leads me to believe that he is implementing this and teaching it as a tactic. It's dirty, it stinks, and almost cost Michael Bisping his fucking career. It literally cost other people their careers. I mean, who is it? Winklejohn? He doesn't even have a fucking eye anymore because he got it poked out. Fucking training and just training, not even a fight. Fuck that, John Jones. Especially, you know what? I'll go there, man. He's fucking around, putting his fingers out there, poking people in the eye multiple times. And I'm gonna say it, people, or whatever. This is the truth. His mother is blind. What the fuck? Why are you trying to inflict that on other people? I'm sorry, that's the word on the street, and that's the bottom line.
Jesus Christ, he blinded his own mom. You heard it here first on the MMA Podcast. We're done with 172, and before we get to the news, we should actually do the 10 solid seconds of sports, the segment where we break down all sports that's not MMA. All right, let's do it. We got Montreal, Boston, Rangers, Pittsburgh, Minnesota Wild, Chicago, LA, and Anaheim moving on to the second round of the NHL playoffs. Dallas, Brooklyn, and Portland winning tonight. Wait, no, Toronto won. Fuck. 10 solid seconds of sports, people. It's all going down from here. Let's go from the John Jones fight to his next opponent, Alex Gustafsson. All this stuff coming out about Gustafsson, beating people up, stealing stuff out of people's clothes while they bathed, picking up a woman and throwing her onto a pier. When the woman looks over, he's sitting on her boyfriend's chest, the same guy he just robbed. Of course, the chick's gonna pipe up and say, "Oh, you shouldn't steal stuff out of people's clothes." Throws the chick and gets into the full mount on the dude, headbutts him in the face. We actually had a long discussion about it on the Word on the Street. So if you want to listen to us talk ethical shit about it, some of us thought that it's not excusable. He's a piece of shit. Some people said, it was a long time ago. He did his time. He's not that bad a guy. Listen to Word on the Street 107. But Finkelstein, we didn't hear what you had to say about this. Alex Gustafsson, all these transgressions. Does this affect the way you look at him?
No. He paid his dues. He did his time. He was young. He was stupid, and we didn't mean to throw that girl. I mean, he didn't mean to throw that. He doesn't mean all that stuff anymore. I've said too much.
Jesus Christ. Ramses, give us the breakdown of your thoughts on this Alex Gustafsson guy.
I'll keep it short, people. I broke it down on my show. I raged against Alexander Gustafsson. I'm done with Alex, man. He's done. He is a piece of human garbage, dog shit, in my opinion. That is the word on the street. This guy, man, I'm sorry. Yeah, he was a teenager when he did this shit, but the details of his assaults came to light. This guy wasn't picking fights and getting launched in a juvie for just, fighting bullies and people on the playground and shit. No. This guy wasn't in school or anything. He was going around, stealing from people, and then beating up guys in front of their girlfriends, humiliating them. Which, all right, fine. All right, that's not too, whatever, simple assault. But he was also assaulting the women. And he was convicted of this, people. So I'm not saying these aren't charges. He was convicted of beating men and women, assaulting females, males together. It's disgusting, and I don't care how young you were. He was a repeat offender. This wasn't a one-time thing. This guy did prison time, not jail time, prison time for this shit. This guy is a piece of shit, in my opinion. He should not. If they're gonna cut Will Cope, they got to cut Alexander Gustafsson. That's, if you're going to fuck over somebody's life over the shit they've done in the past and already paid their time for, you got to be consistent, in my opinion. And also, but there is a difference to me. Alexander Gustafsson, man, this wasn't a victimless crime here. These were crimes with, victims, and he was assaulting them. Throwing women across piers. What, man? You don't come back from that. Not multiple offenses. I'm sorry. You don't all of a sudden become a good guy. You don't. That does not happen in life. And that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold Ramses said so.
What? That's right. Makes a little Joey Diaz in. Let's get straight to the beatdown of the month, gentlemen. A lot of beatdowns. Of course, Jones and Rumble. They didn't get finishes, but they still beat down their opponents. Rockhold, Miller, Holloway, Benavidez with subs, Beal and Castillo with KOs, and that's just 172. We of course had Fabricio Verdum piece up Brown, Cerrone with the rear naked choke, Khabib dominating Dos Anjos. What else? Kennedy over Bisping, Elias Papadopoulos, whatever the fuck, KJ Noons, Ryan Jimmo, Roy Nelson, Dallas Lates. It was a big month for beatdowns, so let's get to it. This week's beatdown of the damn month. My beatdown actually was not a finish. It was a 5-round, 50-45 drubbing. Fabricio Verdum looking excellent against Travis Brown. Everyone was saying Brown was going to have the advantage standing up, but Fabricio, really since his loss to Alistair Overeem, has developed some insane striking. Do I still think Kane's going to beat him in Mexico City? Yes. But I think it's a lot closer than a lot of people are making it out to be, because Fabricio can stand and bang, and as far as Kane taking him down and grounding him out, Fabricio's got one of the nastiest guards in the game, son. He's not the kind of guy you just take down and start punching out of nowhere. He'll lock up a triangle, lock up an armbar, he'll lock up some shit, so this could be a very interesting fight. Can Fabricio topple two giants? He already took down Fedor, and this would be just as big a feather in his cap to take the UFC title from Kane. Ross Finkelstein, what was your beatdown for April 2014?
A lot of great beatdowns. A lot of motherfuckers got beat the fuck down this month. But biggest beatdown, let's get real. The man with the plan. The man who's been planning it all along. The resurrection, the rebirth. The man with 200% black explosiveness. The man known as Anthony Johnson beating down Phil Davis this past Saturday at UFC 172. That is the beatdown of the month.
Yo, man, I gotta top that with another. I gotta contradict you, man. The real black explosiveness. Never heard of this guy before. My first time watching him fight. But he topped Rumble Johnson, even whooping Phil Davis. I'm not a Phil Davis fan. Phil Davis, I don't know if you guys know this, but something going on with this guy, man. He doesn't get any sleep. It's like he's always sitting around there in his apartment or something, waiting for his girlfriend to answer the phone to like work out a deal. Work out a deal with like a drug dealer or something. He's like, answer the phone, bitch. That could be him. I don't know. I'm making this shit up out of nowhere. I have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about. But yeah, no, Rumble Johnson, I'm not giving him the credit. I'm giving it to Neil McBeal or whatever the hell his name was. With the flying knee. That was awesome. That was black explosiveness to the fullest, man. That was definitely awesome. The flying knee knockout that I've never seen in the octagon before. I don't know. Has it happened before? I don't know. But it was awesome. It was perfectly landed. Impressive. Neil McBeal, Chris Parkins. I don't remember his goddamn name. Good job.
And we got an addition to the call, Ninja Larson. We're doing our beatdowns of April, and I hate to put you on the spot, but we're talking about what we thought was our biggest beatdown of April. You had Fabricio beating down Travis Brown, John Jones, Dallas Lates, Tim Kennedy beating Mike Bisping, a ton of beatdowns this month. So before we formally welcome you to the show and shout out your Twitter, what was your beatdown of April, buddy?
My beatdown in April, and it's good to be on here with you gentlemen. It's an honor and a pleasure as always. My beatdown of April, of course, goes to Shale P. Sonnen beating the holy hell out of Vanderlei Silva, shooting that double leg and flip-flops in the shorts, and just owning him on the ground. That's my beatdown. That's the greatest beatdown of all time.
That was a tough Brazil 3. We'll always know it as the Brazilian beatdown when Chael Sonnen took on a team of Brazilians and left them all homeless, even though they were homeless to start off with. And actually, it's a shame you weren't
Jake,
on.
You know what? You know what it is?
Whoa!
You know what it is?
Hey!
It's you're not paying me enough, so I'm getting the fuck out of here.
Whoa, Ross, I'm paying you good money. You better not leave, or you're not seeing shit.
They always
want
more of these guys.
Ross, you better not leave, or you aren't seeing a cent of this money. What do you gotta say to that, you son of a bitch?
He took your money and ran, man. I mean, like, I hate to, man, I wasn't there back in... I'm not anti-Semitic. I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. All of a sudden, you had money and now he's gone.
Wait a second. Where's all my money? He took it. He took it. Security. Somebody get him.
Know what these goddamn
Somebody get him. Somebody get him. That's right. Someone's tweeting us saying, you sound high as fuck. Well, guess what? Everybody on the call is high as fuck. Ross Finkelstein, follow him on Twitter, E before the L. He walked off the damn show. He walked off with all my money, and he's going to be on the Word on the Street next Tuesday to try and get the Word on the Street championship. But as we see Ross off, we've got a new guest, the Ninja Larson, calling up. He just gave us our beatdown. Ninja, where do we find you on the Twitters? What the hell's going on? And honestly, someone tweeting in to tell us we sound high as hell, that's kind of the best compliment we can get, because we're quite fucked up. Ninja?
You can find the world famous Gracie Ninja on Twitter at the Gracie Ninja. It's pretty simple. Follow me and I will change your life. Follow the Buzzards.
That's right, follow the Buzzards. And we got a lot of fight announcements to get to before we do this week's fight tip. The first one I want to talk about was actually announced today. I'm really excited about it. Gunnar Nelson versus Ryan LaFleur. Two young guys with a bunch of hype behind them. Ryan LaFleur has been given tougher and tougher tests every time. Got past John Howard, got past Court McGee. Gunnar Nelson the same way, just an expert on the mat, some brilliant jiu-jitsu, and it's sort of a shame one of these hype trains will be derailed after they fight in Dublin. But what do you think, Nelson, LaFleur, Ninja?
I'm really excited for that fight. I always have to go with the ground game and the jujitsu on that one. Um, this fight for me is unfortunate because one of these guys has to lose, and that's the unfortunate part. Is they're both really talented. They're both on a roll. I expect big things out of both of these guys, but when that fight happens, somebody's got to lose.
That's right. Someone's going to lose. Ramses, what do you think about these two guys?
I have no idea who these people are, and
Of course.
that's the bottom line.
Moving on, Brendan Schaub, you might know him from the Fighter and the Kid podcast. Pretty funny show, actually. Agrees to face the legend making his return, Andrei Arlovsky, at UFC 174. I thought they would give Andre a more winnable fight than Schaub, bringing him in. I think you feed him someone at the bottom of the division just to sort of give him a win, get a little hype behind him. But they're giving him Brendan Schaub, who is going to be a very difficult guy to face. His boxing seems to get a little bit better every single fight. He's got awesome jits. He, I think, was in Metamoris 2 in what was one of the most boring grappling matches I've ever seen. But Brendan Schaub versus Andrei Arlovsky, UFC 174. Andre, of course, his chin's been very questioned in the past. He's been finished a bunch. I have Schaub winning via second round TKO. What about you, Ninja?
First of all, I didn't know Brendan Schaub was even still in the UFC. I'm questioning.
How dare you?
I'm questioning when this guy has been relevant. When the last time this guy's relevant in, but that doesn't matter because one of my favorite heavyweights is back. The legendary Andrei Arlovsky. I will be wearing his Affliction shirt loud and proud. I think Andrei Arlovsky is coming back hungry and strong. And if Brendan Schaub is still in the UFC, he won't be after Andrei Arlovsky gets done with him.
How dare you?
Ramses.
Arlovsky, man, he was pretty damn good. Like I said, in that last Universal Soldier movie. It was good, man. He had no lines whatsoever. His character didn't speak. They explained that away in a plot point at one point, just saying, his breed of genetically modified super soldiers was not capable of speech, so they wouldn't have like what's it called, a conscience, individuality, or whatever. But other than that, he had no lines, but he was badass. Like, his fight scenes were cool. You could tell he was doing most of his own stunts. And remember when he was fighting in Strike Force or whatever the hell, World Series of Fighting, whatever it was, and like the cheap shit on his gloves, like the tape came off and it was revealed that he was still wearing UFC gloves. That was hardcore. That probably sealed the deal for him. And that's what I have to say about this fight. That's the word on the street.
That's the goddamn word. More fights to talk about. What, sorry?
How is Brendan Schaub going to have a chance against the Universal Soldier? Beautiful.
That's right. We'll see. I am interested to see what the line will be. I assume Schaub will be light to moderate favorite, maybe like minus 175, but Andre, that chin is a huge question mark, and Schaub is not a small heavyweight. We'll move on. A couple more fights on the Dublin card. The first fight I want to talk about, Ian McCall and Brad Pickett. We might finally see that. The winner of this is going to be in a very good spot in the flyweight division. The winner may actually get a title shot if Johnson steamrolls through Ali Bagatunov, which I don't think will happen, but if he does, or Ali steamrolls through Johnson, McCall Pickett, there's no one really up there. The winners of McCall Pickett, the winners of the winner of John Dodson. I think he's fighting John Moraga soon. They'll they'll both be in excellent spots. I think that Dodson-Moraga fight's going to happen soon. But yeah, Ian McCall, Brad Pickett, in a fight which has huge implications in the flyweight division. Who you got, Ninja?
I love Ian McCall. He's really fucking cool. I like that guy a lot, but they didn't call Brad Pickett One Punch Pickett for nothing. Pickett all the way.
Pickett by finish, maybe? Or decision? We don't see a lot of finishes in the flyweights.
Yeah, Ian McCall, I think, is going to be a tough guy to finish. I think he's proved that quite a bit. I'm going to go second round. I'm going to go second round TKO for Pickett.
Second round. I'll go with an Ian McCall split decision. Ramses?
I honestly, until this came up, I thought they had cut Ian McCall. I had no idea that he was still in the UFC. For that reason alone, I'm gonna go for the other guy. I just didn't even. Honestly, isn't he on like his 5th loss in a row? I mean, what's going on with this guy?
Ian McCall. I don't think it's 5 losses in a row, but he's definitely struggled in the UFC. Actually, I have the fucking internet right in front of me, so I'll just look up his record. I don't want to say anything and not be sure about it. Since joining the UFC, 1 win, 2 losses, 1 draw. The last win, August 2013, against Alarde Santos at UFC 163, almost 9 months ago.
Ooh.
Some no-name guy.
Who never probably fought again. Yeah, man, I'm done with this Ian McCall, man. I'm sorry. Whoever he's fighting, I got the other guy.
Yeah, the guy Ian McCall beat is 0-3 in the UFC. Losses to Yuri Alcantara. Then he moved down to flyweight, lost to Ian McCall and Chris Carriasso. Ian McCall still without a legitimate win in the UFC yet. Looking for that against Brad Pickett. Just a couple more fights before we get to the fight tip and send this bitch out. Conor McGregor taking on Cole Miller. It's going to be UFC Dublin as well. This card's going to be July 19th, obviously, in Dublin. This is going to be an exciting fight. Both of these guys can talk. Miller's got a hell of a ground game. Conor's got a hell of a stand-up game. I'm going with the Irishman first round KO. What about you, Ninja?
Yeah, Irishman all the way. There's no way Conor's going to lose, in Dublin. There's just not a chance. I mean, Ramses might have a few things to say as far as people losing in their home countries and as far as what the UFC is willing to do to get that fan base. But I just think Ireland's going to be crazy for Conor to be there and fight in front of his people. And I don't think, I think Conor McGregor's the kind of person that's just going to feed off of that and just, that is actually going to propel him to a really good victory, I believe.
Man, I can't even take it anymore. Just this Conor McGregor hype train. I'm not a part of it, man. I'm resisting it 100%. Anybody who was watching UFC tonight saw him on there dressed up in this ridiculous suit. I mean, we get it, man. You're some sort of Irish dude. Like, how full-blown stereotypical Irish does this guy have to make himself look? It's preposterous at this point. He's fucking showing up looking like he's like a taller version of he's the MMA version of Hornswoggle. All right, put them side by side. It's the same dude, except if you stretch him out tall enough, it's this Alexander Gustafsson. It's this fucking Conor McGregor, all right? This suit, man, looking like a goddamn a grandma's rug, right? Looking like a boring ass, played out, glitched Tetris game where you keep getting the same block. The suit was ridiculous. It looked like a Paddington Bear meets Spider-Man outfit. I'm not buying it anymore. I love Misha Tate. And that's the bottom line.
Mark Hunt versus Roy Nelson.
Oh yeah, give me a break. I was just talking about what happened to Mark Hunt. This guy was the second coming of Christ, and now he's battling a losing Roy Nelson on the decline. Not even title shot Roy. It's like, what is the point except to see these guys, just to see who knocks out who. It's going to be a fun fight. I'll give them that. But I'm not about to try to predict it. Whoever lands first on the other guy is going to be the winner of this fight. These guys have no real technique. Let's face it, they don't. It's a slugfest. That's all we're signing up and paying money to see. And as Stone Cold said, that is the bottom line.
That is the bottom line. And speaking of bottom lines, I don't think there are any more fight announcements to go through. So before we send it out, Ramses, you have a fight tip for us this week?
I do, man. Let's go ahead and do this, man. The fight tip of the week.
Let's do this shit. Fight tip of the week, number 9. It's all you.
Hell yeah, people. Fight tip of the week coming at you from the word in the street here. This is Ramses coming at you. Again, just telling you how to save your own life. Self-defense only, people. Self-defense. This one is how to get away with hitting a woman. Because let's face it, there's a stigma against hitting women. Yes, I just raged against Alexander Gustafsson for attacking women, but I'm talking about self-defense. I'm not talking about robbing people, assaulting innocent people. I'm talking about, when a girl breaks in your house and you have to finish her off with a shotgun. That's what I'm talking about, man. I'm getting real here. I'm going Vince McMahon style. All right, the fight tip of the week is how to get away with hitting a woman when you have to. All right, people, when you have to. That's the operative here. Let's face it. Yeah, you can't close a fist and punch a girl in the face under any normal circumstances. So that's why you need some tips on how to circumvent the, quote, law, interpretations, contexts. Quick few tips, but here's the background, people. My heart was broken. I was engaged to marry a woman once. I was. We made an agreement. It was arranged. She was going to be my wife, so of course I just stalked her relentlessly, just trying to learn about her, get close to her. And one day, I'm sitting there. This was back in the days when I was writing for Infowars.com. God bless Alex Jones. Shout out, man. What's happening, man? What? One day, somebody emails me, a friend of mine, and is like, and this is why I understand the NBA owner who turned out to be racist. I understand him. Someone emailed me and was like, man, your girl is posting pictures on Instagram with some dude, man. What's happening? And I'm like, what? What is Instagram? Because this was years ago. And then he was like, yeah, it's this and that. So I checked it out. And sure enough, there's my fiance, my girlfriend, the woman I'd pledged to be with my entire life, just in a picture with some dude, hugging on her, kissing her on the cheek. They're having a good time. It's all for the world to see. I'm humiliated. I'm disgusted. All right? And so, of course, I call her up, and I'm like, what the fuck? But what I really wanted to do was figure out some way to, get even, So I was like, all right, maybe I should turn this my fiance's psychology, the women's psychology, on her. I was like, what do they usually do to men? They throw out your clothes and set them on fire. So I was like, they must do that because they think that's important and they would hate it if that's their worst nightmare. So what I did was I, of course, grabbed her clothes and threw them out and set them on fire. And this was to trigger her to attack me. That's the key, people. That's the fight tip. You provoke the woman to assault you first. That way, everything you do after that is in self-defense. That's the key. That's the bottom line here. That's how you're going to get away with it at the end of the day. All right. Sometimes they got it coming, but there's the stigma. So what you do, you provoke them, you set the clothes on fire or whatever. You call them up, you're like, "Hey, check it out, bitch, I'm burning your clothes. Meet me at so-and-so." They show up. Of course, they're going to attack you. They're going to start slapping at you and whatnot. You can pull their hair because they're always turned on by that. They won't tell the cops about that. They love it. I've gone up with Goon Hand before in the past. It's not exactly like shaking them or anything violently. It's not punching them or anything. It's the Goon Hand. It's like when you're like grabbing your kid or something, you're like, sit still. It's that hard grab where you're not exactly bruising, you're about to, but it's the Goon Hand. That's always effective. Like I said, the hair pulling. You can, if Officer Allen were on the call still, there's a trick where you can, beat someone with a phone book so that it doesn't leave a mark. He knows that one, trust me. Officer Allen. Oh, shit. If only you guys knew. There's that method. There's, basically, what you gotta do is you have to draw them out. You have to bait them. That's the whole thing. And then you have to do unbelievable shit when you do, when you are being a little rough to put the girl in her place. You have to be a little ridiculous so that when she tells the story to the cops or authorities or her friends, they won't believe it. You have to dress up in like a chipmunk outfit or something and then slap her in the face. She'll be like, he dressed up in a chipmunk outfit and then he slapped me in the face, and the cops are gonna be like, yeah. It's gonna be like that Antoine Williams trying to tell Officer Allen what his name was. Give him a 28-digit long phone number. It's ridiculous. Let me tell you, man, there's a number of ways to get away with hitting a woman. Another way, last one that I want to get out of the way, it's real simple. She's taking swings at you, she's punching around all clumsily. You're just laughing and grabbing her wrists. You grab her wrists and then you make her start punching her own face. And then you're just like, why are you hitting yourself? You do that old playground thing. Chicks love that too. That turns them on. And they have it coming the whole time. They know it. Usually they'll apologize. If they don't, you just scoop that last pile of dirt on their face and bury them. That's the word in the street fight tip for this week. See you next week at the dojo.
Is the donkey punch going to be a part of that fight tip at all? Would you recommend that?
It's always a great finishing move, man. And, it gives you pleasure at her expense, but girls love pleasing men even more than they like having their hair pulled. So you're cool with the donkey punch. That's the word on the street, and that's the bottom line.
Oh my God, that was the best way we could have ever hoped to send the podcast out. Thanks for listening, people. The 88th edition of the MMA Podcast. It was a short one, but it was a good one. Before we send it out, though, of course, Ninja, where do we find you? What the hell's going on? Give us the bottom line. Give us the Ninja.
Sorry, technical difficulties there. Coming from Ninja Land, as always, the world famous Gracie Ninja. You can follow me on Twitter at the Gracie Ninja. I will personally change your life. Hit me up sometime. Great life coach. I've been through a lot. Like I said, a life-changing moment. Do it. Love it. Live it. Learn it. Experience the Gracie Ninja for yourself. Come to Ninja Land. All those things. I love you all. Thanks for letting me jump on this podcast here and have fun like I always do.
He's rambling.
Exactly.
He's a rambling man. I love you too, Ninja. Man. He's a rambling man. Follow him on Twitter, the Gracie Ninja. Follow Ross Finkelstein making his return, E before the L. Our buddies Chris Lowenstein, Yeah, the Truth, Westland Eagle, AH. Our boy Scott Black tweeting in Scott Black Eye. Follow him. Fuck it. Follow Technics. Follow the Med Ninja, the Enthusiast Mad Samurai, and of course the man who makes it all happen. I think that was my favorite fight tip yet. The chipmunk outfit got me. Ramses, where do we find you? Goddamn.
Follow me on Twitter, The Aunt Jimmy Show. It is the word in the street. And again, just a shout out to the man who's going through a tough time. He is my cousin, Antoine Williams, falsely arrested beaten by the police in Baton Rouge. Some racist cop took him down. I'm trying to collect bail money. If you'd like to donate, go to shulgi.org. And I feel really bad for this guy. And we will get to the bottom of this and make sure that the crooked cop that sicked the dog on him and just arrested him for,
stereotypical dog.
All he was doing was walking around with a purse, man, and apparently that's a crime now in certain parts of this country. So we will prevail. Donate shulgi.org. That is the word on the street. And of course, now, that's the bottom line.
That's the bottom line. Definitely follow us, themmapodcast.com, on Twitter, the MMA Podcast. Glory 16 is this weekend in Denver, Colorado. Like I said, we're going to be on press row, so you got to watch it. We're going to be giving you the play-by-play on Twitter, but don't take it from me. Watch it on Spike Television, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Glory 16, it's going to be a very fun tournament. You got Anderson Silva, maybe not the one you're thinking about, but maybe the one you're thinking about. If you're thinking about Anderson Braddock Silva, not the Spider. Sergey Karatanov, the return of Pat Barry to your television sets. It's going to be awesome. Glory 16 on Spike this Saturday. And, of course, the MMApodcast.com, iTunes, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. We love the shit out of you. We gone.